Good evening, everybody. How you all doing? Is there anyone that is on this call for the first time? If you are, just type in first time. Great to have you here. Mosa, great to have you on this call. So welcome. So as always, thanks Marlon for hosting it. Great job you always do. As always, good evening. Great to have you with us. And yeah, to start off with, what questions do you have around sales, financial literacy, making money, entrepreneurship, and business? So those of you that are regularly on this webinar, you know that one of the things that I always like doing is dealing with questions that come from you. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds or so to type in any questions that you might have, and we'll do our best to answer them. So why don't you go ahead and do that, and then we'll kick it off. And just while you're thinking about questions that you want to ask, tonight one of the things that I'm going to talk around is building a team. So any questions around building a team? Okay, so Ntabi saying living beyond your means and being financially free. Cool, can talk a little bit about that. Clive says the topic sales closing. Okay, we'll talk a bit about closing and handling objections. Anything else? Finding the right person. Appointment making. Okay, cool. Clive, sounds like you should be doing the sales explosion program again with all those requirements. Anyone else? Any other questions or any questions, other topics, things that you would like me to, any questions you have, any problems you have when it comes to sales, making money, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship? Just type your questions in quickly, and then we'll work through those. So I'm gonna kick off with this. Macret says team building to be able to delegate and duplicate. Okay, great. So okay. So Clive, to get a person to make appointments. That's a great question. How many of you wonder how do you get a person to make appointments for you? So we'll go through that. Team building, being able to delegate. And then motivating the sales team in general. Okay, good. It'll give us quite a few things to cover this evening. Brilliant. Okay, so let's get started. Well, why don't we start off with Ntabi Singh's question around unmute myself for whatever reason I was unmuted, so I think I should be unmuted. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me now. Okay, cool. So you know, a lot of times, how many of you have heard you know, people say you got to become very frugal and you must cut all your expenses down and all those type of things. Well, you know, one of the lessons Robert teaches is, you know, he calls it the rich live beyond their means. But the fundamental difference there is where people get it wrong is most people go into debt in order to live beyond their means. And it's the wrong type of debt. It's, debt from the bank to create expenses and liabilities. What Robert teaches and what the Rich Dad guys teach is it's about generating assets. And when you focus on building an asset to have what you want, it's very different, because the asset, the income from the asset, the cash flow that is produced from that asset is ongoing, so that it covers the cost of the lifestyle that you want to live. It's just a different way of thinking. So yeah, and I was saying, very interesting when you examine and explore that in the different ways of thinking. Most people are going to work, generating an income, and using that income in order to try to cover the debt to buy the things that they want. And what Robert Kiyosaki teaches is learn how to build an asset. Think like the rich, act like the rich, create assets. If you want a new car, well, create an asset that will allow you to every month to be able to pay off the cost of that car. Then essentially what you end up doing is you end up, not getting stuck in debt because you really set up the asset. So hopefully that answers that. So yeah, let's talk around teams. So I said that the topic that I want to talk on tonight really is on teams. So I'm just going to go back and sort of start with a little bit of context for you in terms of teams, and let's kick it off with just a reminder. So those of you that have done the Sales Explosion program, or been in any of my sales rooms, you would hopefully you'll remember this. Those of you that haven't, well, this will set some good context for you. So when we talk about a business, essentially we say there is 3 critical things that you have to be able to do above the line, and 3 critical things you have to be able to do below the line. So the first thing that you have to be able to do is you have to be able to sell. And pretty simply, the reason you have to be able to sell is because of this. Because sales equals income. So if you can't sell, you can't earn. If you can't earn, you can't have a business. And as you probably heard before, Kiyosaki teaches that if you can't sell, you can't own a business. And it is an essential skill for anyone who wants to be able to build a business, that you have to be able to sell. So linking into your question, Clive, the first thing about being able to build people to book appointments for you is you've got to be able to book your own appointments first. It's very hard to teach people to do things that you can't do. So, so in any area of business where you want salespeople to be able to do it, can you get out and do it yourself? It puts you in a much stronger position. The second core component is this: can you build a team? And it's essential that every single person on your team sells. So you've got to be able to sell, you've got to be able to build a team, and you've got to be able to build a team that sells. And the way that you grow that team is you've got to learn how to teach. And the art of teaching is very different to the art of telling. So those of you that have done Sales Explosion will remember this, that it's key that you teach your team how to sell. What holds your whole business together is building systems, and what drives everything is this word called accountability. And then as Blair Singer teaches, and one of the things we work with in businesses is we help them put in a code of honor, really, which is creating the right environment for people to be able to operate. So that's the sort of core context of setting up and building any business. So can you sell, and can you build a team that can sell? Can you teach that team to sell? Can you teach that team to drive systems? And can you hold that team accountable? So, one of the clear stepping zones or steps to move through the cash flow quadrant, as Robert Kiyosaki teaches, to move through this is, in order to play on this side of the quadrant, everyone who plays on this side of the quadrant leverages a team. Everyone who plays over here often plays solo. Employees play solo. Self-employed people generally play solo. So the game really is to be able to leverage, build a business where you leverage a team. So what is a team? I don't know. Why don't I just ask you guys quickly? Type into the chat box, how would you describe a team? When we're talking about a team, yes, the essential aspect of having to build a team, how would you describe a team pretty quickly? What is a team? Okay, so Nita says network marketing. So yeah, the power of network marketing. If you're involved in a good network marketing business, the power of network marketing, it allows you to sort of create and build, if you want, a big business type of business with limited risk, and that is about leveraging a team. Macreat says people working together. Okay, good. So people working together. Karen says team is a few people you rely on or experts. Okay, good. So it's people that you rely on, people that have your back. What else? Delian, specialists in key areas of business who are experts at what they do to essentially become advisors to business. Okay, so yeah, so you have a team of advisors if that's what you require. People who contribute to your success. Okay, good. So for me, a team is a group of people who follow this. They have a common mission. So the first thing, they have a common mission. If they have a common mission, they have something that they're driven on. Why? Because the greatest teams are teams that pull themselves around a mission. So, as Delanne says, you could get a group of specialists, that's sure, but if they're all specialists who are focused on their own individual needs and requirements, they generally won't pull together in a mission. So the first step in building a team, as the leader, you've got to come up with a mission. You've got to create a mission that other people can buy into. So it's a group of people that are focused on a common mission. In our Blessing and Training Academy, we have a common mission: building and teaching trainers and teachers to contribute and make a significant difference in the world. Okay, so common mission. In Uncovering Greatness, people that generally come in and stick around uncovering greatness have a fall into our Uncovering Greatness mission. Our mission right now in the next decade is to help build, teach, train, and equip 1 million entrepreneurs in Africa. And pretty simply, what we're looking for is we're looking for people who love this continent, who think that this continent is selling itself below itself, and who believe that building entrepreneurs in Africa is really the way to go. Now, that's our mission, is build self-sustaining entrepreneurs. Now, one way that we do it is we build and teach trainers. Why? Because pretty simply in Uncovering Greatness, I don't have the capacity to do that all on my own. So in order for me to create the other key thing that a team gives you, which is this word, leverage, then you need a team. So for me to be able to create leverage, my goal is to have 100 trainers that are trained in the way that we teach and train, and equip them over the next 5 years to be able to go into Africa and build, teach, and train entrepreneurs how to really create results. So the key thing is you've got to have a common mission, and when you're building a team that has a common mission, you start creating leverage. So there's a key, for me, I think one of the reasons I really started when I first started working with Blair is he put these 3 words up on the board. The first one was individual. The second one was team. And the third one was the word that we've already spoken about, and it was mission. And what really struck me was this, is that most people play individual first, team second, mission last. And in Blair's organization, and this is something I firmly believe in and how I really connected with him, this is reversed. Mission comes first, team comes second, and individual comes last. And really, when you have a really strong mission, what you do is you attract the right team. When you attract the right team, you attract the right individuals into that team. Now, some of you may or may not be in the corporate world. Some of you might have worked in the corporate world. What I find in today's age, the real focus is rewarding this first. So a lot of people get stuck in this individual play. You know, as long as there's enough in it for me, then I'll contribute to the team. And if there's enough for the team, then I'll contribute to the mission. Whereas I really believe that, and my observation is that it works the other way around, is when you focus on making sure that this is the primary deliverer, which is mission. When the mission is achieved, then everyone on the team should win. And when everyone on the team wins, then every individual should win. So if you take it to sport, if you're going for the World Cup, you know, a team that plays with a group of individuals that are focused on their own glory and getting what they can out of a World Cup probably will never win the World Cup. Whereas a team that pulls together and is playing for the glory, the mission of winning a World Cup and pull together as a team, pretty much every individual at the end of the day will benefit when they win. So mission is essential when it comes to building a team, a group of common, with people with common goals, with common objectives, and importantly, with a common mission. So, in the period of time that I've been able to work with Robert Kiyosaki and the Rich Dad Advisors and working with Blair, there's one thing that I've seen that holds those Rich Dad Advisors together. They all have their own businesses as a group of advisors, but it's this thing called mission that they're really driven on. This mission here of being able to elevate the financial well-being of humanity. And that's the key thing. So if you were not interested in elevating the financial well-being of humanity, then you wouldn't fit into that culture or into that business, because you wouldn't tie into the mission. So if you're going to build a team, if you are building a team, it's essential that you get a mission down. Any questions or comments on this so far? Any questions or comments? Fire them away. Anything around building a team? Just type them in if you'd like. Great, thank you for your comment, Elaine. Yeah, mission gives you a purpose. How does the vision tie into the mission? Well, as a leader, you've got to. The vision is charting the path forward for the organization. So when you have a vision, what is your vision of the future? You could have a vision for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a year, a couple of years, and your vision and your mission should be pretty tied in pretty well. So our mission is to build trainers and to build teachers, leaders, and through that build entrepreneurs. So that's our mission. My vision in our organization is in the next 10 years to have 100 fully equipped trainers trained in the way that we teach and train, and to be creating enough of a wave in trainers that we are influencing and equipping 1 million entrepreneurs on this continent. So that's the mission. That is the vision. Our mission is to equip and build teachers, trainers, and leaders who will build entrepreneurs. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Mosa? Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else around teams? So the second thing that is important is driving accountability. And in any team, how do you drive accountability? Well, it's key that those of you that have done sales and leadership mastery or sales explosion, you'll know that it's key to create the right context. So as a recap, most people focus on content. What type of people can they get in the organization? All the pretty things like cars, offices, brand, money, all that sort of stuff. And all the stuff that we can accumulate in our businesses, in our lives to make it look good. But often what people forget about is this, which is the context. And pretty simply, why? Because as soon as you start putting a group of people together, what is created is heat and pressure. And when people come together because of emotions, because of everything else that goes on when you start building a team, heat and pressure is created. When you want to start creating better results, different results, you got to start putting heat and pressure on your team. If your team does not have the right context, is not following the right mission, what happens is cracks start appearing. When cracks start appearing, well, pretty simply, everything starts spewing out of your cup, and over a period of time, the cup breaks, and that's where businesses and teams fall apart and break down. So it is essential to set up the right context and the right environment, which one will attract the people that you're looking for, and two will allow you to be able to create the right environment. And the reason that is so important, because the bigger the game you want to play, or the bigger the results that you want to create in your business, in your sales team, in your business team, well, pretty simply, those results come from these things called behaviors. So what the right context does is the right context determines what type of behaviors you want in your business. So how do you want people to behave? Those, as a leader, those are your rules. So you create a set of rules. So the context around a set of behavior comes from what we encourage people to implement as a code of honor. What type of code of honor do you have? What set of behavioral rules? A code of honor determines how people play the game. Policies and procedures, values in your business. So all these things operate to create the right environment. And what I observe in too many teams or too many businesses, they focus way too much on the content, on getting all that stuff right. And then once things start heating up and the pressure starts heating up, then they start worrying about how to create the right context. My experience is you've got to do it the other way around. You've got to set up the context right from the beginning. Set up the context. How do you want people to play the game? How are you going to play the game? Can you play by the rules you set? If you expect other people to play by the rules you set, and if you create the right behaviors that are expected, what you'll find is you'll find the right people coming into the business and will be attracted to join your business based on the rules that you have. It will also allow you to drive a critical component of any business, which is this thing called accountability. One of the reasons many businesses struggle when they build teams is because they struggle to build accountability. Why? Because too many people are too nice. And when it comes to holding people accountable, disciplining them, what they really need to be is not nice, but kind. However, if you don't have a very clear set of rules, a code of honor, a really clear set of behaviors that you get everyone to buy into, it's very hard to hold people accountable to those rules. Because one, if there's no rules, what do you hold them accountable to? What it does, it drives up frustration. What I hear people saying is, but it's obvious that that's how we should behave. Well, what is obvious, and why is it obvious? Because you think that that's how people should behave, that anybody else thinks that that's how you should behave. So, a key component of building a team is driving this thing called accountability. Who are you setting up to be accountable? How are you setting them up to be accountable? Are you setting yourself up for success so that you don't have to be nice? You don't have to be nice in the organization, that you can be kind. Now, what's being kind? Being kind, pretty simply, is being able to hold people to the set of rules. What it does over a period of time, it strengthens the organization. When you strengthen the organization, that is what being kind is. Too many people want to be nice. So what they are is they're too nice. Let people off, let people off, let people off, because one, they don't have the structure or the context set up to hold people accountable, and two, they have fears of holding people accountable. Then what happens? Frustration comes in, they snap, and everything falls apart, and that's where you get the cup that starts breaking, shattering, and everything falls down. So any comments on creating context and setting a set of rules that hold people accountable? Now remember this, it's the job of the leader to uphold the rules first. So if you're going to set a set of rules for your team, you need to be prepared to follow those rules yourself. Any questions or comments so far on this? Cool. So from Anita, true. Anything else? Anybody else? Great. Delanne says this context will help.
Barry, I have a question.
Yeah.
So with what you just said, obviously building a team, I mean, being with you and your team, and just realizing you already set up the context quite a long time before I got there.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of fit in. But I mean, now starting a new venture, starting with a new team that's being created, perhaps I don't really have, maybe I have a code of honor, but not necessarily, I haven't done all those things ahead of my team to actually practice it first and then start teaching. How can I implement some of those things now, you know, and tweak as I go along? Because things are fast moving, business is fast paced. I've got to get clients in, I've got to get them nurtured, I've got to get them served, and you know, still then to turn around and then get everybody up to speed it's all quite a do. So
yeah.
How does one sort of do it, put it all like together?
Okay, good. So I think the first thing, Marlon, is, so you've already, your business, your new venture is up and running, you've got a couple of people in your team and you haven't set up a code of honor. So the first thing is you got to take some time out, pull the team together, create the context around why a set of rules and a code of honor is important, and then start implementing a set of rules that you and the team agree that you're going to play by. Okay, so you've gone past, the horse has bolted to say that you already have your team coming in. So now is the time to set up the rules. Now you could set up the rules and then say, hey guys, I want to set these rules up. So these are my rules. So you're either going to play by them or you must leave. That's not really going to work because they've already started and joined your team. So you have an opportunity to bring them in, get their buy-in. And like anything, if you get people's buy-in, then it's easier to hold them to the rules, and they also become a part of it. So if you haven't developed that code of honor, then you need to start putting that in place. And I mean, you know, by being in the Uncovering Greatness team, we have a pretty strong code of honor. It's been around for a while. I'm pretty strong at driving that code of honor. But even though we have a code of honor, it's not always that easy to play by, is it?
No.
So, I mean, pretty much on regular meetings, we're talking about violation of the code of honor, how we're going to call each other, hold each other more and more accountable. But would you agree that it sets a very strong platform for us to be able to deal with issues without there being a huge emotional breakdown because people want to hold other people accountable? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So did that answer your question on how to get going? Involve your team that you've already got right now. Bring them in. set the context of why they need to do it. I mean, you know, your other option is you bring someone like me and put your team together in a room, and we do a code of honor 1 or a 2-day program, and then get everyone's buy-in, and you have a code of honor. You probably have a small enough team that you can work through it yourself and get that done. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, good. So, Karun, would it not help to sit everyone down? 100%. So, if you've already got a team going, it's my advice always is bring your team in, sit them down, set the right context, why a set of rules is so important, and then with them you develop a code of honor that you all agree that will drive the right behaviors that you want as a team. So you just explain, as we're growing and we're bringing on new people, do we want to be clear on the way we play the game? So Karun, 100%, get the buy-in from your team if you already have a team. If you haven't, and you're self-employed and you operate on your own, well, now's the time to set up a code of honor. One, to set it up for yourself because it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do for you to have that code of honor for yourself as a self-employed person, because you need a set of rules that are going to drive you. And two, as you start bringing on people, and it's not only employees, it's partners. Marlon is not employed by me, but he partners with me in my business. So as soon as he came on as a partner in my business to run our social media, first thing that I gave him was a code of honor and said, Marlon, this is how we play the game. Are you prepared to play the game this way? And we go from there. So Karun, great comment. Delian, would you suggest to go through the code of honor during every team meeting? Definitely not. No, I think code of honor is something that you live. You shouldn't have to keep going back to it every team meeting. You can bring it up now and again. You bring up the code of honor when people are not upholding the code of honor. There's no reason why you can't go back to the code of honor in a meeting and talk about things that are working or aren't working around the code of honor. Or when you first start introducing the code of honor, then you can have a code of honor, a code of honor piece in every single meeting where you talk about how's the code of honor working, how is the changes, all those types of things. So it all depends on where and when and how you are in the life cycle of your team, how those code of honor discussions happen. Karun says, just realized that it will make for better marriages. 100%, Karun. Can you imagine? I don't know. I just know that when Nicole and I got married, we got married. Obviously, we got married in church, and there's a set of rules that you get married to. But how many people actually, don't? Yes, you take them seriously, but you actually don't sit down with your wife and say, how are we going to play the game? As we get into this relationship, as we form this deal, because that's what it is. It's a deal between two people. You're going to do life together. You're going to do business together. You're going to do finance together, money together, children together. I just look back on, we've been married 24 years this year, and I look back and say, 24 years ago, if we had sat down and said, okay, what are the rules to how we're going to play life together? How are we going to handle money issues? How are we going to handle arguments? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? I just believe that we would have saved a whole lot of issues. The problems still would have come up, but we would have had a much stronger context within which to deal with it. Nicole and I now have a very strong code of honor between us, a set of rules on how we play the game. But Karun, I think you make a very important point when it comes to building, any team, and a husband and wife is a team. So right in the beginning. So great aha. So any other questions around teams, code of honor, setting the context? Mosa said, what did he say? Would you say it's better to aim for respect rather than being liked? 100%. Mosa, too many people in this are wanting to be liked, and what they do is they compromise their values, they compromise everything in order to be liked. and you don't, I mean, I'll say this, in order to get respect, in order to hold people accountable, you don't have to be an asshole. You don't. You can do it in a nice way. You can hold people accountable. You can be strong, and you can be kind. So part of holding accountability in a team is there's lots of little voice fears from people. What are they going to think? And am I going to be a nice guy? And all that sort of stuff. So we're trying to be nice. No, you drive respect. People at the end of the day want to be led. People want to be led by someone who's strong, someone who's fair, someone who's moral, someone who's ethical. That's who my belief is most people want to be led by. Yes, it comes across they want this nice person, but I have never heard anyone complain about someone who they know is very fair yet strong, and because they're very clear on the rules. So you hold people to the set of rules. And I'll say it again, you don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to be an ugly person to hold people to a set of rules. We have code of honor discussions in our team when people break the code of honor and are not doing the things that they should be doing. I never shout and scream, rant and rave, do anything like that. That I see from people who don't have a set of rules. So yeah, you create respect by setting the right environment. People like to know where they stand. A code of honor and a set of accountability rules hold people to account, and they know they're safe. I mean, let me ask you guys this. Let's just take driving on the roads in South Africa. If there's a set of rules, now, if you get stopped in some areas by a traffic cop, do you feel that you are 100% safe? That you, if you are upholding the laws, that you won't maybe be taken for a bribe or something like that? In some cases, I don't think that we do feel safe, because people are not holding the law, if you want, the leaders, the police, in some, and this big generalization, because I think that is a big generalization, and there are lots of great police out there that do hold the right context. But how many of you realize there's a number of people out there that are not holding the context? So when you get stopped, your little voice goes, oh crap, how do I sit? Where, what's going to happen? Whereas if you are very clear that everybody is holding the context, you feel safe. When people are not holding the rules, or there's different rules for different people, man, you, in terms of how to operate, you feel unsafe. How many of you understand that? So so Delenn says definitely not. I had a recent experience, and luckily Marlon was close by. So it creates the right rules, create safety for the right team. It also allows you to attract the right people. So Kobus says, hey Kobus, great to have you on. Great to have you on this call. Kobus says, what if the team doesn't want the consequence rule if they don't follow the code? Well, if you're the leader, Kobus, that's up to you to demand that there's a consequence. For me, it's pretty simple in my team. That's how we play. If you don't like the way we play, we'll go play somewhere else. And what I've learned over the years is the right people that connect with how we do what we do, and connect with our values, and connect with the type of people we are, hang around us. The people that are on the same mission hang around. And if you're the facilitator for the team, Kubas, I have a set of rules in every single one of my rooms, and I set those rules up. And if people in the rooms do not want to uphold the rooms, then I don't. Then I ask them to leave. So in your environment where you're doing firewalking and all that type of stuff, I would suggest that a set of rules is even more important than anything else. And people that violate those rules should be asked should be asked to leave. And those rules should be set up front. If I understand your context right, every single event I do. Tomorrow I've just come back from Switzerland. Right, very first thing I did in the 2-day program in Switzerland was set a set of rules. very first thing I'll do tomorrow morning is set a set of rules so that everybody understands how we play the game. And I have on numerous occasions, Marlon has seen it in the room. I've asked people to leave because they weren't prepared to uphold the rules or weren't prepared for the consequences. And it's amazing how when you uphold the rules, people quickly jump in line. On other occasions, I've had people say, well, I'm not coming back. I go, great. I'm sad that you're not coming back. However, these are the rules of the room, and these are the rules, and those rules keep everybody safe. And, in all aspects, safe around time, safe around honoring agreements. So when building a team, a code of honor, in my opinion, is the most important thing that you can set up, and you will attract, in the 12 years that I've been in this teaching and training business, I've seen people come and go. They come into our business, love working with us. For whatever reason, they may or may not stick. They don't stick around. They don't like some of the things we do or how we do them, and that's okay. However, we've had a core of people who stuck around us. They've been around us for years. They're still around us, and they like how we do things. And at the end of the day, that's all we're looking for is looking for people who like to do the things the way that we do, and go from there. So Deepti says, people treat you how you train them to, 100%. This for me, this little piece I'm going to write up here right now. This is key. Environment is greater than will. When you set the right environment and you hold people to the environment, people will change. What happens is people want to be nice. So they set up a set of rules. They set up the environment, and then they don't hold the accountability. If you fail to hold the accountability once, you set precedent. And this is what I see. Well, you know what, Kubis, it's okay this time. I'm just going to let you off. And then Marlon does something. Well, Marlon, don't do it. Otherwise, so I'm going to let you off this time, but no one else must do it. What happens is you let people off. You get pissed off. Next person does it. You jump all over them, and they say, that's unfair. Now what you've got is you've lost all context. You've lost all control. You don't own the space anymore. And people are saying stuff that because there's ambiguity. But when you hold the rules, you come into one of my rooms, you come around my organization, we hold the rules. That's the way we work. Don't like it? That's okay. Leave. But we're very clear on those rules. And everyone is open to hold me to the rules as I hold them to the rules. So, that's the difference between being nice and kind. And I'll say it again, to hold people accountable, to drive discipline, you do not have to be an asshole. You don't. You do it in the right way, in the right spirit, in the right manner. And if it's set up properly, I sit down with people and I go, Marlon, what is our rule around time? Barry, our rule around this time is, what's our rule around time, Marlon?
Be earlier, and being early is 15 minutes early.
Be early, and being early is 15 minutes on time.
Yeah.
And if you're late, do we get on your case?
Yep.
Yes. And have you and I had a serious discussion and sat down before where I said, Marlon, if you can't get your time right, we're going to have to reconsider how we work together?
Yep.
Are you and I good friends?
Yes.
Yes. Did I shout and scream at you?
No.
Have you worked at getting time right?
Definitely.
Has that working on time in our organization started shifting you in all other areas of your life?
Well, yes. Everywhere.
Yeah. See, now it was just as easy for me to say, oh, Marlon's my mate, I'll let him off, wasn't it?
Yes, definitely.
And we would have laughed about it and shared a joke, but it would have done a disservice to us and the whole organization, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's key to any organization is to get agreement to a code of honor, hold people to the code of honor, and above all, as a leader in a team, hold yourself to that code of honor. Yeah, Deepti. So Well, what happens is you become frustrated. I don't know if you may lose the passion, but I don't think what happens is you become frustrated because you end up fighting people in your organization rather than fighting for the mission. When you attract the right people in the right rules, in the right context, you go to war if you want it to fight the mission. But when you end up fighting people in your team to try and battle the fires and all that sort of stuff, well, you're not focusing your attention in the right manner and in the right place. So Helena says people are required to go for training and attend meetings and do sellings. Some can't do it to they're working full time. I'm a little bit lost in that. Helena, do you want to set some context around that for me? If you want, open up your mic and share the context around what you're talking about. I think I've got it in terms of if you're working full time and you're working for a company, how do you get to attend meetings and go out and sell?
Yeah, I'm muted, Helena.
Helena, do you want to comment on that? So, well, on that, if she's not coming on, I'll just take it as this. The way that I read it is someone that's working full time. Well, there's many ways to get training. One, take leave. Find great training programs. Take leave. Many training programs are done over weekends. Two, go do selling in the evenings. And find time. So Helena, you're open. Do you want to comment on that?
The mic doesn't seem
not coming through.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's it's like anything. We have to manage our environment, our context, in order to be able to do the things that we need to do. I meet too many people that tell me the reason that they can't advance their life is because they don't have time, because they have a full-time job and their boss won't give them time off. And then what I do is, and I'm not saying that this is your context, Helene, but then what I see is they sit at home, watch TV in the evenings and say, oh, I'm too tired. Well, that's the real reason is I'm too tired, and to get out and go do something. If you want to create something different, you've got to create the time around what you do in order to make that happen. So I've learned this in I've learned this when it comes to creating change and having different results. Many people want to have different results, but what they also want is they want to have different results, but they also want to have pleasing methods. So they want to have pleasing results, but they also want to have pleasing methods to do it. My experience on being an entrepreneur, on building businesses, on doing what I've done over the last decade or plus, is pleasing results do not come from pleasing methods. Pleasing results come from whatever methods are necessary to get it done. And in my world, legally, ethically, morally, your world, you decide what you want to do. But there's certain ways to do it. In the work, and what I learned from Robert Kiyosaki is the way they created their wealth is the way they created their wealth. Now, if I want to follow the same path as them, I've got to do whatever they did. I've got to be prepared to get out and operate the way they operate, follow their system. Most people are not prepared to do that. They want the pleasing results, but then they'll find a reason why they can't have those pleasing results. So I say to people, like in the network marketing business, oh, I don't have time to do it, and I don't have money. I go, okay, good. So tell me, run me through some of your expenses. Do you have DSTV? Oh, yes. Well, do me a favor, cancel DSTV. Oh, no, I couldn't do that. Why not? Well, what am I going to do in the evenings? Exactly. Cancel DSTV. That'll give you 2 hours that you don't need to watch TV. It'll save you $900 a month. That's 10,000 Rand a year. Well, that'll give you some money to be able to afford the learning material that you need and get out every evening and go out and start prospecting and seeing people. You do that. Is that pleasant? No, it's not pleasant. But creating wealth, creating change, building businesses, creating a different future is hard. It's very simple. but it is hard, and that's why most people don't want to do it. So, Helena, if that's the context of what you're talking about, it's everyone has obstacles they have to overcome, and if time is that obstacle, then we gotta get over that. And the power is for a period of time, when we start off, we have to do it ourselves. But that's why building a team is essential. So you start creating leverage. So in anything, in a network marketing business, you got to build a team. As a self-employed person, you got to build a team. In my business right now, I mean, in the last 3 weeks, I have been Botswana, Zimbabwe. I was Sydney, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Bangkok, US, and just come back yesterday from Zurich. So in the last 2.5 months, I've done 220 hours of flying. And so why do I tell you that? Because at the same time, we have a series of events that when I'm coming back to South Africa, being run in the country, and if I'm traveling, I can't do the setting up of events. I can't do all those type of things. So I now have a team. So tomorrow I have an event. My team will go and set up for the event so that I can focus on driving the part of the business that I'm good at driving, and they focus on driving the part of the business that they're good at driving. Did I start off like that? No. When I started off, I set up my own events. I did phoning customers to put them into the event. I did the name tags and everything. I ran all my own events. I went from event to event, running all those type of things. Now, over a period of time, I've built a team, people that come in, set up. So that's how it starts. So it's about creating and leveraging that team that'll give you time. These team members don't sell due to all the difficulties. Helena, these team members don't sell because they're not driven enough to sell. And whether it's difficulty in time or anything else, I've just learned that when people really want to do something, they will find the reason to get out and do it. They will find the reason. If their life, I guarantee you, if you ask them, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a month. If I was to tell you that by the end of the month, if you hadn't done X amount of turnover, you would lose your life, do you think they would jump into action? Of course they would. Of course they would, because suddenly the reason is so big. So it's, for me, you set a set of rules, you set a context, you work with people to drive people around that context, and then you're looking for the right team of people that are looking at doing what's needed to be done. Now, I'll go back to the same thing. Most people want pleasing results, but sadly, they want pleasing methods. Success and a high level of success comes from doing whatever it takes, whatever methods it takes to get it done. Most people are not prepared to take whatever it gets done. They talk the language of doing whatever it gets done, but they don't do the doing of needing whatever it gets done. Then they will complain about why it's not working, but they're not actually getting out there and making it happen. So Sean says, the excuse I hear from long-term employees, not in my job description. They're a posture of dragging your feet, not changing to change economic. Sean, I don't know if it's only a long-term employee. I think the deal is that many people are stuck. Many people are stuck in this. So this concept here is that when we want to grow, this is what people say is no problem. I tell you what, if you want me to do something, then first of all, I need to have. And then in order to have, then I will do. And then when I do, then I will be. So what they say is, sure, Sean, I tell you what, when I have some more money, then I'll do what you want me to do. And then I'll be who you want me to be doing what you want me to do. Does that make sense? And, quite clearly, this is not the journey for success. The journey for success goes this way, and highly successful people say, who do I need to be, and then what do I need to do? And then if I change who I be and change who I do, I will have the having. But the average individual doesn't work like that, because their whole game is driven on, when you give me what I want, then I will go do. And sadly, those people stay where they are because they never go do or be who they need to do or be. So again, it's attracting and setting the rules around your teams where you create those behavioral rules and behavioral expectations. So Helena says it's an internal problem. Yeah, Elena, can I share a secret with you? Most of our problems in life are internal. They're in here, stuck in our head, internally. All my problems in life come from me, come from my internal problems. I have met the enemy, and the enemy is me, and the enemy sits between this ear and this ear. Whenever I don't want to do something, it's me. It's not the economy. Right now in our country, it's not the economy, it's not the government, it's not the exchange rate, it's none of those. It's each one of us individuals that are so stuck in our head about what's going wrong. We've got such a big little voice about all this stuff and why it's not working and how it's not unfair, that we're not getting through this stuff. Is it hard? Yes, it's damn flipping hard. It's damn hard to create success. Most people don't want it to be hard. They want it to be easy. So the quicker we change our mindset, the quicker we create the results that we want. It's our little voice. When, you know, that little voice of, well, I work all day and I don't have time, that's just a little voice. Nonsense. If your life was at stake, believe me, you just ask those people, if your life, anyone on this call, how many of you are procrastinators? I can put up both hands. Procrastination. You know, Michael wrote just now, I have this to-do list. For most people, Michael, I'm not saying it's you, but we procrastinate. We don't pick on the eternal, on the important things, but we procrastinate. How many of you have essential things that you know that you need to do in your business, and if you do them and you do them well, you know in your heart, you know in your spirit that things will change, but you put them off. If I said to you, you have 30 days to get all those essential things done, how many of you, and you're going to lose your life if you do not get all those things done. How many of you would get those off your flipping list quicker than you could say Barry's next webinar? Do you agree? You see, what happens is we just do not create the right environment for success. Those of you that have been in Sales Explosion or Sales and Leadership Mastery Program, the sales that we do in 12 minutes, for some people, I mean, Karun, Hechmat, Blinkenek comes in the room and sells 1.8 million worth of shoes in 12 minutes, and he'd been sitting on those shoes for 12 months. Yes, why? Because we created an environment, turned up the heat, pushed up the pressure, boom, and suddenly he didn't actually have time to sit, think, and decide why that little voice could take over. He just took action, boom, and he closed the deal. You see, the problem is we don't create enough pressure on ourselves around time. We don't create the environment that demands us to deliver. You know, I was on the line to my accountant over the course of the weekend when I was in Zurich. I had a look at my bank account, and there was a little bit less cash in my bank than I thought I'd had for certain reasons. And she said to me, I had to sort this, and this out. Boom. Suddenly, I was under pressure. I've got 2 big events coming up that I need to cash flow. And within 2 days, my mind had started switching, and I'm going, okay, I can close the deal here. I can close the deal here. Who can I phone? Who can I do? Because suddenly, I'm under pressure because my cash flow is getting a little bit tight, and I don't want to do it. Yeah, and I don't want to be in that tight cash flow thing. So I just created the environment. And so with your team, when you want to get people operating under intense environments, you've got to create the right context. That is a great question, Elena. That's about creating a code of honor, building a set of rules, attracting the right people. And I don't, right now on this call, don't have enough time to take you through how you do that. A couple of things you can do. One is you can buy Blair Singer's book called The ABCs of Building Championship Teams. Or if you haven't done it, come on the Sales and Leadership Mastery Program, where we teach you how to create a code of honor. Just by way of interest, how many of you on this call, if I was to do a program around how to establish a code of honor in your team, how many of you would be interested in attending that? Just quickly, just type in yes. So it would probably be a 2-day program. The cost of that program would probably be about just for 2 days, off the top of my head, maybe about 5,000 or 6,000 rand per person. How many of you would be interested in in doing a code of honor program, learning how to establish a code of honor, build a code of honor. What is a code of honor? Why are the key rules? How do you go through that process of doing that? Give me an idea, because I know the team's talked to me about it before. Just interesting. Okay, great. So it might be something that we'll put on for next year. That sort of cost about 5,000 or 6,000 rand. Okay, good. So any other questions before I wrap up around teams? Did you guys get value tonight? Great to see you all on this call. Some of you new for the first time, welcome. And yeah, some Mike from Zim, great having you on as always, buddy. And yeah, great having Kubus on, the firewalking king of Africa. Those of you that have never firewalked, that's Kubus is yeah, he's the master firewalker in Africa, and for me, probably one of the masters in the world right now. Is really, you know, when you see people who are really committed to a process and committed to what they do, that's Kubus. So Kubus, great honor to have you on this webinar with us tonight, buddy. Good to have you here. Helena's question: how do you ensure payment on the required date month end? Helena, you set up an agreement. You get very clear on that agreement, and you hold people accountable to the agreement. And if they don't do it, you then have to make a decision whether you want to continue doing business with them or not. And you call them on it, and if they don't make amends, you cut them out of your business. You know, too many businesses carry too many people that don't pay, and you know, closing a deal and not getting money, it's better sometimes not to close the deal, if that makes sense. So, excellent. Any other questions or comments before we finish off? Tomorrow we have a strategy session, and then Thursday and Friday, Nicole and I are super excited. For the first time ever, we've got our mindset coach coming out from the US. Her name's Seal Stanford. She's an amazing woman. She's the mindset coach to Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, Blair Singer, many of the advisors. And I've been working with Seal for the last 24 months around processing my head and the stuff in my head, and has made a monumental difference in everything that I do around my business. And when it comes to money and the way I deal with money, has made an incredible difference. And yeah, I do the same things, just have a very different mindset around it. So for the first time ever, we have Seal coming to South Africa with us to do a 2-day event called Life Enhancement. And you know, she'll be teaching some really key tools called processing, which is some tools and techniques that we use when we're coaching and working with people in rooms around how to process their minds in terms of coaching. So yeah, some really powerful stuff. So yeah, excited to be doing that. And then for those of you that don't know or might have forgotten, 3rd of December in the evening is I'm hosting Robert Kiyosaki live, the first time, Uncovering Greatness, the first time my business has hosted Robert in South Africa live out in the public. When he was out here last, I was really privileged, got to host him in a breakfast for some of my key clients, and also got to host him for a group that have been running through a program that I call Awaken Your Financial Genius. But on the 3rd of December from 6 p.m. until 9:30, I have a public program where Robert is going to be in South Africa for a day, and I am going to be hosting him at Wanderers. So those of you that are interested in joining, there's the there is the link. It's not an expensive event right now. I think the tickets are just under 600 Rand for 3.5 hours. When I say it'll be a small room, there'll probably be about 500 people in the room. So It's not a big room, and excited to have him here. He's really going to be talking on where's the world's economy going at the moment, and he's been doing a lot of work with the likes of James Rickards and people like that who have a huge know in terms of where the world's economy is going. So there's tickets for that. There's also there's some early bird tickets on at the moment. There's also some group tickets. You know, those of you that want to bring your buddies along, there's discounted tickets for groups of 5 and 10. So, you know, great to see you guys already got your tickets. Really looking forward to seeing you guys there. Would love it if you could pass that on to mates of yours. Love it to be a really, really great evening. So so that'll be cool. Any other questions before we finish off? Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Remember, the next Tuesday evening webinar will be on the last Tuesday of the month. So we do 2 webinars a month now, one on the last Tuesday and one on the first Tuesday. So thank you for joining me. Have a blessed evening. Have an incredible week. And we'll see you guys soon. Hand over to you, Marlon.
Thanks, Barry. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Again, you'll find all of this content on the Uncovering Greatness website. Just go into the resources, click on webinars, and you'll get all of the webinars that we've been doing to date up on the site. Probably this one will be available tomorrow, so go and have a look then. Other than that, we'll see you at the end of the month. Hopefully your teams are all set up and got a code of honor going, and hopefully driving some context through that. So wish you all a good evening. See you at the end of the month. Bye.